Last time we checked in with Stevie Richards, he was saying that Kyle Fletcher, the 26-year-old prodigy in AEW, needed to get out of that system because there was nobody for him to learn from. And people really threw a fit because they thought that Kyle Fletcher was already a complete package, and they weren't really criticizing him so much as he was criticizing AEW and the system. And a lot of that had to do with Kyle Fletcher doing unsafe things like slamming the back of Adam Cole's head into the ring apron, and other times where he did something similar. Now, right off the back of that, his next controversy is that he claims that Logan Paul is better than all of the wrestlers in AEW. That would be Kyle Fletcher included. So we're going to play the clip so that everybody can get the full context. I'm not going to listen to the entire thing because it's 14 minutes. I'm going to have to give you a little bit of context to set this up. So Stevie Richards is talking about Logan Paul, and he's talking about the intangibles that Logan Paul does very well. And part of it is he's talking about selling. And he talks, the early part of the video is about the body language of Logan Paul, how he plays his character. And this is all based off of what he did on Raw. The Raw where he faced off with CM Punk. He did the psyching himself up to get back in there to help Punk, and Stevie Richards really liked that. He really liked that Logan Paul sold when he got shoved down by Brian Breaker. Was it Bronson Reed? I forget which one. So he was kind of on a roll of giving Logan Paul all of this positive feedback for the little things that he does well. And we ended up here.
Got a really shitty question to ask you, that's why. Sorry. With that being said, Stevie, and this is obviously going to go into the title of the thumbnail.
Face? What are you going to say and ask me? You have such a smirk on your face.
Yeah, here it is. Is Logan Paul better than everybody in AEW?
Oh, come on, man. Do you really want me to... Do you want a Piper situation with me?
Yeah. I'll give you some names then. And I won't make it...
No. I'm going to say
easy.
Logan Paul is better than everybody in AEW.
John Moxley.
Yes.
Darby Allin.
1,000%.
Will Ospreay.
Yes.
Swerve Strickland.
Yes.
Kenny Omega. Young Bucks.
Yes.
Why? There's some big names there. Why is Logan Paul better than them?
Because he's a character. I can hate or love Logan Paul. And he's every bit as athletic as all of them. He's proven it. He keeps debuting. But by the way, you know what Logan Paul also does? When he debuts a move, a spot, whatever he does, he doesn't debut all 12 at the same time. He doesn't give you everything. He makes you... Something special happens in a Logan Paul match every time he has it.
And do you know who used to do that? And he never gets the credit for it.
He's about to talk about Bill Goldberg. We got to move on. You got to move on. All right. So Stevie will go on to say Logan Paul is better than 98% of all the WWE superstars as well. Now, I'm not here to argue about whether Logan Paul is better than the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and all these guys. I will say this, though. It's pretty clear that Logan Paul is getting some very positive feedback from a lot of people. And that rubs the AEW fans, but it mostly rubs the wrestlers the wrong way. We've talked on this channel a couple of times about how Kenny Omega openly has hated on Logan Paul. I mean, he hated on him by name in live streams. There's been blue sky, I guess you can call them tweets or comments or whatever, from the Hangman where he was trash talking Logan Paul. So that these guys are feeling the heat. That this guy who is this YouTuber is going in there doing the wrestling thing and being compared to them. 3 years ago, Jim Cornette actually talked about how guys like Logan Paul and Austin Theory were better workers and had better basics than even the main event guys in AEW. And since then, Austin Theory has fallen off of a cliff, but Logan Paul has also gained the respect of John Cena and Drew McIntyre and several others whom he shares a locker room with. And the only people who seem to have a problem with him are people online who don't like him for his previous online persona and some stuff that happened a long time ago, and obviously him being an alleged scammer. Now, we can talk about all that stuff, but we're not here to talk about whether he's, a AA star rated person. We're going to talk about whether he's a good wrestler or not. And quite a few people are really impressed with the amount of passion. Stevie Richards talked about this as well, that Logan Paul isn't doing this for the money. He doesn't need money. He's doing this because he likes wrestling. And he's actually taking the time to learn about it and put forth the effort. And I think that is what is impressing so many people, is that it would have been easy for him to come into the business, not really know anything about it, kind of take the piss or have fun and not take it seriously, not really buy into the character or his performance. But it turns out he actually does. So he's starting to slowly but surely win people over. And yet there are still some people who are very angry about the very concept that he might be a better pro wrestler, which is basically professional bullshitting, than people who have been doing this their whole lives. So some of the reactions obviously have been quite spicy. A lot of them are just basically the same thing that happened when Stevie Richards was talking about Kyle Fletcher, which is saying he's a bum and he was a jabroni. He doesn't have anything. But the typical response is that Stevie Richards is grifting off of this. And that there's a really good argument that you can make that Stevie Richards is grifting off of the whole Logan Paul is better than, all of the AEW roster. But again, this is not something that Jim Cornette said something like this 3 years ago. Was he a grifter when he said it? Well, these same people will probably say yes. Jim Ross also has said that Logan Paul is a hell of a performer. Gave him a ton of credit a year ago. So there's people who are late to the party. But then there's the people who just think that Stevie Richards is a grifter. So one of these people says, as a wise man said, controversy creates cash, which clearly helping Stevie Richards the most. And this is what Logan Paul does his whole life. He knows the world hates who he is, and saying shit is negative blueprinting thoughts of hating him more to get even more attention. People are buzzing about his ridiculous. Oh my goodness. This is how ridiculous is spelled. REDICALOUS. That is not that is not a word in any language. Okay. People are buzzing about his ridiculous statement. Now it's viral because people fall for this marketing antics. Have say, hate, or love him. Logan knows how to market himself well to fans. That was not written by ChatGPT or Grok or anything. That was a human hand that typed those letters and literally probably had a stroke while doing so. Obviously, there's a lot of people who are talking about how terrible Logan Paul is. He's a terrible person. He does a shitty buckshot lariat. All the flippy guys who would be compared to Logan Paul, like, Strickland and Omega and Ospreay. He's not better than any of those guys. Again, I'm not here to make the argument that he is. I'm not going to make the argument that he isn't. I think it's a matter of personal opinion. I just think that we are beyond the point of people being able to tear down Logan Paul's in-ring performances. I think he knows who he is. He knows how to get that over on screen. And he knows how to use that personality in wrestling. Ronda Rousey talked about how she enjoys Logan Paul's matches. Now, she said it in a kind of a jealous way because she knows that Logan Paul takes a lot of time to prepare, let's say. Let's put the word prepare in quotations. She means choreograph his matches. But a lot of these people do that now. A lot of guys choreograph matches for way ahead of time. He probably needs more time than most, considering he doesn't do this naturally. But you can easily see Young Bucks and Omega and Ospreay and all those guys choreographed in these matches way ahead of time. More than just, hey, we're going to go in there and work on this, and this, and then hit a nice finish. I think that we're beyond the point of whether Logan Paul should be in the business, or I just think he belongs. He's engaging when he's on screen. He has some of the better elements of The Miz, but is physically more imposing, and it has a real sports background. Like, the element of I can hate him for real that's there with The Miz is mixed in with he's kind of a taller guy. He got a sports background with the boxing, even though it's YouTube boxing and that kind of stuff. And he's just easy to hate. And it makes him work in a wrestling context. In the ring, he's still growing. He's only been wrestling for about 3 years, maybe a little bit more, maybe 4. Not many people are on Logan Paul's level after 4 years in the business. There's people who are still doing 3 minutes on Collision that's been in the business 5 or 6 years, and they still barely know right from left. So he has a pretty decent in-ring IQ. He knows his shit. He's starting to win over people who have been in the business for 30 years, 25 years. It's hard to say that some folks online who just don't like the Paul antics is going to be the ones holding him back. It seems like the ball is in his court. Now, Stevie Richards did say that they should make him the champion. And that's been something that has been tossed around a lot. And I conclude that he could be the champion. Why the hell wouldn't he be the champion? Young people are responding to him. They know who he is. And it would be great in order to make somebody else to put Logan Paul in that position so that somebody could beat him and win the championship. That would be great. The situation is, how would you get there? But I'm not suggesting that CM Punk dropped the belt to Logan Paul. But what else if you were trying to make some heat in WWE, if you're trying to create some heat, would you have CM Punk drop the belt to Logan Paul in order to get some heat? Anyway, Logan Paul is doing a really good job, and I think a lot of people are hating on him because they don't want to give him credit for how good a job he is doing. And look, guys like Kenny Omega can feel as bad as they want to. I think that the ball is outside of their court. We can't, because Kenny Omega has not proven to be a great arbiter of talent. It's not like he's pointed at somebody and said, that's the man right there. And then all of a sudden that person ends up being a huge star. I don't think it's ever happened. Same thing with Hangman Page. I just don't think it's ever happened that they've been right. Meanwhile, Cornette's been right. He's not right all the time, but he's been right. Jim Ross has been right. Drew McIntyre has been right. John Cena's been right. So people who, then also it's WWE. So it's a different audience that you're playing for there. So that's fair. Is Stevie Richards a grifter? I think this is an extreme position. I think that when you're podcasting and you're doing these sorts of things, you tend towards extreme positions, because as a person who mostly sits on the fence on a lot of these issues, you don't grow as fast on your channel if you're rational. You grow quite quickly if you're making snap judgments and you scream and yell about stuff. I don't do that. I think we'll see in the end how great Logan Paul can really be. But I think right now he is a top level professional wrestler. He's really good. I would rather watch him than a lot of other people that are floating around in the business. I'd rather watch him than a lot of people that were on that NXT UK roster. I would rather watch him than a lot of people that I've seen on Collision. I would rather watch him than a lot of people I've seen on SmackDown. You know? Am I going to sit here and grade Logan Paul like, Mortal Kombat, like he's better than this guy and go up the tower? No, I'm not going to do that. But I will say this. Logan Paul is interesting every time he's on TV. He's never just on TV for no reason. And he commands respect when he's on the screen. And he does the little things right. That video, I think the first, maybe 10 minutes of it, where it was just Stevie talking about the little things that Logan Paul does right. Those are the things that I appreciate. Wrestling is theatrics. Being theatrical, selling, being in the moment, that's the kind of stuff that you want in a pro wrestler. Why wouldn't you want a guy like Logan Paul around? Unless you were, purity spiraling. He's a scam artist. Okay. I guess so. But who better to get heat than a scam artist? Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
MagMongoSlade. Best house I ever drew, Daddy.